Welcome to the Wireless LAN News Desk here on September 14th, 2018. My name is Tom Carpenter. I'm the CTO at CWNP, and this week in the news, just one interesting thing I want to talk about. And yes, it's an old issue that I keep bringing up, but we'll have to talk about it one more time. Before we get to that, just a reminder that Wi-Fi Trek is now 30 days away as of today. And right now, at the time I'm recording this, it's 30 days, 40 minutes, 35 seconds away. So we're getting very close. If you haven't registered yet, go to conferences.cwnp.com in order to register for the conference. And if you're coming to the conference, make sure that you do register and stay at the Hilton Bayfront San Diego Hotel. There are details there for a $100 Amazon gift card for those that choose to stay at that hotel. All right, let's talk about the news. Here it is. The Array by Hampton connected door lock operates on Wi-Fi and is powered by the sun. Well, one of the issues that is often faced with different IoT type devices is battery life. And the reality is that Wi-Fi chipsets often consume more battery life than, say, Bluetooth or Zigbee or something of that sort. And so it's not uncommon to use something other than Wi-Fi. But since people already have Wi-Fi in their home, it sure works well to use Wi-Fi. So what they've done is they've placed a solar panel in the door lock so that if the door lock is in sunlight, of course, it can trickle charge the battery and keep it charged for a long period of time and still allow it to work on Wi-Fi. One of the things you'll notice with all of these kinds of IoT type devices, whether they're for the consumer or the enterprise market, is that they'll just say they're Wi-Fi. And that's the big public thing that they talk about. But you have to dig deeper to find out what Wi-Fi? Is it 2.4 gigahertz? Is it 5 gigahertz? Is it dual band capable? Well, here's the thing. Chipsets are cheaper when you get 2.4 gigahertz only chipsets. And it's easier to program the coding behind it because you don't have to worry about having code that deals with 2.4 versus 5 gigahertz. And you have the additional benefit of longer range. That's a true benefit. Interestingly, when you look at devices like this, what you generally see is a comment like this. Notice it says the Array lock is manufactured to connect only with the 2.4 gigahertz and not the 5 gigahertz. This is so you can connect the lock from further away, as the 2.4 gigahertz has a longer connection range and better barrier penetration. While their statement is generally true, the reality is that this is not necessarily the major motivation. I love how the vendors of all kinds of hardware like to spin it that they chose to do 2.4 gigahertz for you and not for them. But the reality is that, okay, it gives you a better range, but if it's really just about me, why not go ahead and give me 5 gigahertz too and let me decide if I have the 5 gigahertz coverage that I need in order to use that door lock. Now, let's be honest. If this is a home environment and I've got a 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi network implemented in that home environment, chances are it reaches my door and 5 gigahertz would work fine, generally speaking. So the argument doesn't really hold well. So you have to look behind the scenes and ask, is there another reason? Well, there are two reasons. One, anyone who has Wi-Fi in their home has 2.4 gigahertz for the most part. Very few have 5 gigahertz only Wi-Fi in their home. The exceptions might be some of the Wi-Fi geeks who would watch this Wireless LAN News Desk. But other than us, we're going to have 2.4 gigahertz. And even I have 2.4 gigahertz. I don't like to use it. Don't put any of my devices on it. But just between you and me, it's there for the kids to play their Xbox on and not know that they're not getting as good of performance as they would get on 5 gigahertz. But that's just between you and me. Okay, so the point is that these devices, if they were really being designed for me, then they would give me a choice. They would let me use 5 gigahertz if I wanted to. But it's about cost savings. It's about cost reduction, and it's about reducing support costs. Because if it connects on 2.4, guess what? In 99.999% of all homes that have Wi-Fi, 2.4 will be there, and it's going to be able to connect. But if it somehow gets configured for 5 gigahertz and doesn't fall back to 2.4 or something like that, then all of a sudden there's support issues and it's not working. So not only is it a factor of chipset costs, it's a factor of support costs. And I do get that. I really do. It's just frustrating to me that the claim seems to be that it's all about me. Now, we've seen this kind of claim before. Way back in January, we looked at a Wi-Fi grill. And guess what? They made the same claim. It's all about you. 2.4 gigahertz travels further. 2.4 gigahertz gets through walls better. And the reality is, it's not all about me. It's all about support costs and chipset costs that really motivates these decisions. But it's a nice way to spin it when they're reporting to us what their decision was. So here we have another 2.4 gigahertz only device. Now, this is aimed at the consumer market. You might see some of these devices installed in some business type settings. I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen, particularly in small businesses. But for the most part, this is about the consumer space. And many of these IoT devices are really marketed there. But remember, they're devices that exist, and consumer devices often make their way into business or enterprise deployments. And so here we are still dealing with 2.4 gigahertz, which is why my argument is 2.4 gigahertz is not dead and it is not dying. It's going to continue to be there as new products continue to come out. And we have to realize 2.4 gigahertz is frustrating, but it's alive. Well, that's all I have for the Wireless LAN News Desk this week. Remember to go to conferences.cwnp.com. In order to register if you haven't done so already, click below to subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and I will see you next week and hopefully in 30 days in San Diego. Have a great weekend.